Hello and Assalamualaikum everyone. Today we will like to talk about our speech review. So for the presenter is myself, Muhammad Najib bin Muhammad Nazri, and my friend Muhammad Nazri Izwan bin Maliki.
The table of content. First is speaker background. Second, speaker's objectivity. Third, the audience and context for the speech. Four, before the speech. Five, the speech opening. Six, the speech body. Seven, the speech conclusion. Eight, delivery skills and technique. Nine, visual aids. 10, physical gestures and content. And lastly is vocal variety and language.
So speaker's background. For the first speaker is Jennifer Archer. Jennifer Archer is a general athlete, professor, and consular family fellow at the Stanford Graduate School of Business and a leading expert on how to purpose and meaning shape of individual life. The next is Naomi McDonald. Naomi McDonald is a lecturer at the Stanford Graduate School of Business and executive coaches of the CSO, politician, and the celebrity client and the leadership team and the best-selling author.
The second speaker is Adam Grant. Adam Grant is an organizational psychologist. Adam Grant rethinks how people live, work, and life. His pioneering research has inspired people to question assumptions about motivation, generosity, and creativity.
Speakers auditive.
Everyone laughs. It's this beautiful moment of levity, and it has real upside for Connor and for his organization, because we know from the research that leaders with a good sense of humor are seen as 27% more motivating. Their teams are more bonded and creative. Also,
organizational psychologist, I spend a lot of time in workplaces, and I find paranoia everywhere. Paranoia is caused by people that I call takers. Takers are self-serving in their interactions. It's all about what can you do for me? The opposite is a giver. It's somebody who approaches most interactions by asking, what can I do for you? And I wanted to give you a chance to think about your own style. We all have moments of giving and taking. Your style is just how you treat most of the people most of the time, your default. So I have a short test that you can take to figure out if you're more of a giver or a taker, and you can take it right now.
So for the first speaker, their speaker activity is to entertain the audience by telling about the importance of sense of humor in leadership.
The second speakers, the speakers objectivity second speakers is in every workplace, there are the basic kinds of people, givers, takers, and matches. Organizational psychologist Adam Grant breaks down these personalities and offers simple strategies to promote a culture of generosity and keep self-serving employees from taking more than their share.
The audience and the context for the speech.
she shared how the foreign minister couldn't help but smile. And she also shared how the energy in the room shifted and it changed the conversation entirely.
This is the only thing I will say today that has no data behind it. But I'm convinced the longer it takes you to laugh at this cartoon, the more worried we should be that you're a taker. Of course, not all takers are narcissists. Some are just givers who got burned.
So for the audience and the context for the speech, it was held in a hall and the audience are full of the hall. The audience are in different gender, ages, and background, which is consists of adult.
The speakers, audience, and context for the speech is it also was held in a big room and the audience are fully in the room. Second, the audience consists of elders with various ages and background.
So the before the speech.
Okay, so how often do you laugh at work? I mean, really laugh. We asked some of you this question, and here's what we heard. Rarely, seldomly, and then our personal favorite. I studied climate change. Why would I laugh?
So I want you to look around the room for a minute and try to find the most paranoid person here. And then I want you to point at that person for me. Okay, don't actually do it. But as an organizational psychologist, I spend a lot of time in workplaces, and I find paranoia everywhere. Paranoia is caused by people that I call takers.
So for the first speaker, they have good eye contact, good body language, and start with a joke.
The second speaker is good body posture. Second, keep eye contact. And lastly, makes audience participate.
For the next is the speech opening.
The two of us teach a class at Stanford Business School about the power of humor in leadership. Turns out that humor is a teachable skill and one of the most underappreciated assets at work. For the record, our class on humor gets the same academic credit as financial accounting.
This is the only thing I will say today that has no data behind it. But I'm convinced the longer it takes you to laugh at this cartoon, the more worried we should be that you're a taker. Of course, not all takers are narcissists. Some are just givers who got burned one too many times. And then there's another kind of taker that we won't be addressing today, and that's called a psychopath. I was curious, though, about how common these extremes are, and so I surveyed over 30,000.
So for the first speaker, they open their speech by telling the story of their friend's experience and conclude with a sense of humor. And they make a good body language.
The second speaker is Adam Grant. They opens a speech with tell a little joke and making audience participate.
So the next is the speech body.
Disclosing more personal information. So they feel closer. You really laughed hard at that pet frog line. I already feel close to you. Don't we feel close? Wow. Yeah, we feel close. There's a lot.
Surprised to discover, actually, that that was not right. That the negative impact of a taker on a culture is usually double to triple the positive impact of a giver. Think about it this way. One bad apple can spoil a barrel, but one good egg just does not make a dozen. I don't know what that means, but I hope you do. No,
So for the speech body, for the first speaker, they use some example to prove their point. It is easy to understand and they know how to explain their point.
The second speaker is he used a lot of phrases to prove his point. Second is organized, and lastly, easy to understand.
So the speech conclusion.
Luck is not far behind. And if that doesn't sell you on the power of humor, I will throw in my pet frog. Thank you so much.
Look, I want to live in a world where givers succeed, and I hope you will help me create that world. Thank you.
So for the first speaker, they end their speech by telling their hope and thanking their audience.
The second speaker, the speech conclusion is very simple and will make audience remember. And lastly, telling his hope to this audience.
So for the delivery skill and technique,
I'll throw in my pet frog. The bar is so low. It's extreme. It's like very low. Could not be lower.
Expectedly, the worst performers in each of these jobs were the givers. The engineers who got the least work done were the ones who did more favors than they got back. They were so busy doing other people's jobs, they literally ran out of time and energy to get their own work completed. In medical school, the lowest grades belong to the students who agree most strongly with statements like,
so for the delivery skill and technique, the first speaker know how to take turn when talking, they have great body movement, add some joke and know their targeted audience.
And the second speaker, his is clear voice, add a lot of jokes and great body movement.
So for visual aids,
This humor clip is actually easy to fix. Better? 10 years, but we got there, right? Just a little Sharpie. Okay, no, the actual good news is that our lives are full of humor if we know how to look for it.
We have a huge body of evidence, many studies, looking at the frequency of giving behavior that exists in a team or an organization. And the more often people are helping and sharing their knowledge and providing mentoring, the better organizations do on every metric we can measure. Higher profits, customer satisfaction, employee retention, even lower operating expenses.
so for the first speaker, they use a simple slideshow and they use some graph and add a little joke in the graph.
The second speaker, he used a lot of slideshow, use memes in his slide, and he used a lot of photo.
So physical gesture and context.
Be sure to check your distance. How close are you personally to what you're making light of? I can make fun of my mother, but not your mother, who, by the way, I hear is a saint. I heard that too. A lovely lady, an angel.
Time trying to help other people and improve the team, and then unfortunately they suffer along the way. And I want to talk about what it takes to build cultures where givers actually get to succeed. So I wondered then, if givers are the worst performers, who are the best performers? And let me start with the good news. It's not the takers. Takers tend to rise quickly, but also fall quickly in most jobs.
So for the first speaker, they use perfect body language and they have clear voice so that they can talk to their audience and they know when to take turn talking.
The second speakers, he's a perfect body language and clear voice.
So for vocal variety and language.
So when we live our lives on the precipice of a smile, we shift how we interact with the world and in turn how it interacts back. It's also about being human, which should be easy because we are human.
Givers are overrepresented at the bottom and at the top of every success metric that I can track. Which raises the question, how do we create a world where more of these givers get to excel? And I want to talk about how to do that, not just in businesses, but also in nonprofits, schools, even governments. Are you ready? All right, let's get to it anyway, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. The first thing that's really...
So for the first speaker, they have clear voice and know how to pronounce their languages. And they also know when to take turn.
The second speaker, the voice is so clear and he know when to stop. I think that's all from me and my friend, Muhammad Najib. Thank you.